You are woefully ignorant when it comes to the National Football League. Imagine a game where the outcome is determined by a bombardment of beer bottles, futuristic technology embedded in the pigskin, and the most exceptional MVP you've never heard of. Discover 15 surprising facts about the National Football League, and a stadium disaster comes in at number 15. Due to a complete breakdown in planning, the Vikings had to relocate a game from its intended site on game day to an arena about 700 miles away in 2010. Half a foot of snow fell through the ceiling in the dead of night, dumping its load upon the desolate field below. And what was the most outrageous aspect? As far as anyone could tell, that was the fifth roof collapse at the Metrodome. Even more bizarre is the item we have at position 14. With about 10 million viewers, you may assume that The Bachelor is the most popular TV show in the United States. However, it's really about 100 million viewers short of the record. Super Bowl 49 attracted 114 million viewers, making it the most watched. Among the 30 most watched television programs in American history, 29 have been the Super Bowl. The sole top 30 event that is not a Super Bowl, the 1983 series finale of MASH. Not every tragic event occurs at the end of MASH. Orlando Brown, a former top earner among NFL offensive linemen and a Cleveland Brown product, comes in at number 13. It was then that December 19, 1999 occurred. The penalty flag was thrown by referee Jeff Triplett straight into Brown's right eye during the game against Jacksonville. After losing part of his sight, he sued the NFL, seeking $200 million. Brown lost 3 seasons due to the injuries and was never the same, but Cleveland and he settled for $25 million after dropping him following the incident. Plus, you probably didn't realize that the number 12 is now an integral component of the game of football. Did you know that you may view next-gen statistics from the comfort of your own home? The NFL, however, began experimenting with pigskin technology in 2015. Those aren't chips, they're microchips embedded in the football that can measure its speed and distance travel. Chip footballs are currently only used for data collection and marking punts out of bounds because they are only accurate to within 6 inches of the exact spot and don't account for the player's knee or elbow being down. However, as technology continues to advance, the chain gang may wish to consider seeking new employment opportunities. However, moving us up to number 11, the NFL commissioner will never have to worry about finding another job. All of the players' salaries are less than Roger Goodell's. Indeed, it surpasses both Patrick Mahomes, who earns $500 million annually, and Lamar Jackson, who just became the highest-paid NFL player in league history, with a meager $52 million a season. Roger Goodell's annual salary has averaged $64 million since 2021. Number 10 on the list is the most heinous act of fan conduct in NFL history. You might be surprised to hear that there was once a game called off due to spectators releasing your foes onto the field. For the 2001 season, a victory was necessary for Cleveland to maintain a playoff chance. With 1 minute remaining on 4th down and Jacksonville trailing 15-10, Tim Couch completed a pass to Quincy Morgan for the first down, despite Morgan appearing to have lost possession of the ball. Although Cleveland spiked the ball in a flash, the referees examined the 4th down play and reversed it, which was clearly an improper call because another play had already been executed. Because of this, Cleveland lost the game, and the home crowd threw beer bottles at the field in celebration. In a panic, the officials and players bolted off the field as the clock ticked away, all because they were afraid for their safety. The league office, however, was unconvinced. Each side was given 11 guys at random to run a couple of quarterback kneels and get out of there, after they were told they had to return to the field and finish the game. Whoever thought it would be a good idea to give the Cleveland faithful beer bottles to use as ammunition was sure to see that plan through. As a result, Numerous venues nationwide forbade the sale of beer in bottles. This incident has since gained notoriety as the Bottlegate. Almost as crazy as the ninth idea spark was that. Did you know that famous football players from countries other than the US used to play in their own league? The NFL formed a 10-team European League in 1991 under the humorous moniker of the World League of American Football. In 1998, the name was changed to NFL Europe. It was created with the intention of serving as a developmental program, similar to the NBA's G League. Notable players from this league include Terry Crews, Adam Vinatieri, Kurt Warner, Jake Delhomme, and Jake Delhomme. However, the league withdrew in 2007 due to the fact that the games were boring to watch and costing $30 million annually. The reason behind the creation of number 8 is to prioritize quality over quantity. A singular exceptional talent was acquired in 1999 by the New Orleans Saints in exchange for all of their draft choices. Because of the absurdity of the circumstances, ESPN even produced a comical magazine cover with the player and the head coach of the Saints, Mike Ditka. Despite the fact that New Orleans only had 6 selections in the draft that year, things become much stranger. One of those selections was the 12th overall choice, but that wasn't good enough to land the guy they want. In exchange for Washington's 5th overall selection, New Orleans sent its first and third round draft choices along with all 6 picks in the upcoming round. The Saints then selected running back Ricky Williams in the draft. Nowadays, when running backs are selected in the first round, people go crazy. Can you fathom giving up your whole draft to get one? The Saints' dismal 3-13 record that year and Mike Ditka's dismissal were predictable outcomes. However, additional sacrifices demonstrated by our next fact at number 7. Season ticket sales for the Green Bay Packers have been in the works for what feels like an eternity. To the letter. More than 140,000 people are on the waiting list for these tickets, and only 70 to 100 are distributed annually. Thus, some of these fans have patiently waited for more than half a century to obtain these priceless tickets. You would be more likely to make it to the NFL if you kept up that pace. This brings us to the 6th point. There is an island where the likelihood of being an NFL player is more than 50 times higher than the national average. Even though there are fewer than 60,000 people living on the island of American Samoa, there are over 200 Samoan football players at the collegiate level and over 30 in the National Football League. If that were to happen, Youngstown, Ohio would be home to 30 NFL players. Has that city never escaped your notice? Indeed, I see your point. A male Samoan has a 56-fold higher chance of playing in the National Football League than any other American, according to CBS News. The name Football Island is so fitting. Number 5 is next. Here, we feel the NFL may have sent out the incorrect script. The selection of this individual as the league MVP has to have been a cruel prank. Only this player has ever won Most Valuable Player at this position in NFL history. Mark Moseley of the Washington Redskins set a record in 1982 by kicking 20 field goals out of 21 attempts, 95.2%. To answer your question, the NFL MVP was a kicker. To top it all off, even though Washington won Super Bowl 17 that year, Moseley kicked 4 failed field goals in the playoffs. And coming in at number 4, we have the Buffalo Bills, who had the worst conceivable season while also struggling against a specific division. Buffalo was a 4-time Super Bowl participant from 1990 to 1994, but they went down each time, all against clubs from the same division. They were defeated twice by the Cowboys, once by the Redskins, and once by the Giants. The NFC East was simply too much for them to handle. Since then, they failed to advance to the championship game. Even in the playoffs, this subsequent squad was losing games. The third-place squad is the one that still holds the record for longest winless playoff drought. from Chicago to St. Louis, and finally to their current home in Arizona. This squad has traveled to more cities than they have won in postseason games. With a 20-7 victory over the Cowboys in 1998, they finally reached the playoffs. In 50 years, the Cardinals failed to win a single postseason game. At least some Green Bay Packers fans may have been able to purchase season tickets by now. The second one is even worse than the first one. Why? I mean, it has something to do with the Chicago Bears. Bears' possession consists of